Well, good morning, everybody, or whatever time of the day it is in your neck of the woods. I'm looking at this because we were having some technical difficulties yet again, but it looks like we're back on track. So let's get rolling here. So we left off talking about the Protestant Reformation, and we'll start back with a little bit of a review before we get to this Catholic Counter-Reformation. And so Protestant Reformation is a backlash against the corruption of the Church and the Pope, led by Martin Luther. Martin Luther starts kind of unknowingly, and remember, he did not want to start a new religion, a new form of Christianity, but it happens because he comes up with these ideas of 95 Thesis against, kind of ways to reform the Church, and the Pope doesn't like it, excommunicates him when he doesn't recant his beliefs, and people follow Luther and like him, and because he gets excommunicated, those people that follow him can't be part of the Catholic Church, but they still want to be Christians. And so Protestantism, Lutheranism, Presbyterianism, Calvinism are all forms of Christianity. They worship a little differently, but they are all forms of Christianity. That is the most important thing out of this that you need to know, is that they still believe in Jesus, they still believe in the Bible, they just follow different protocol, all right? Different rules as far as the way church services are held. Can priests be married? Can women be priests? What's the way to best get into heaven? And there's even theological or religious arguments about, was the Virgin Mary, was she divine, or she's a human being? And so there's all these little differences with the way they see the religion, but they are all still Christian. All right? And then as a result of people leaving the Catholic Church and starting off on their own, a ton of conflict and violence erupts, and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people, by the time this thing is all over with, are going to end up losing their lives fighting over Protestantism versus Catholicism. And, it becomes as much of a political debate as anything else. Princes and kings deciding to choose a side and go after the other side. And it was a very, very ugly time in European history, all right? And so as we talk about, the scientific revolution and the Renaissance occurring, and it's kind of this rebirth and, knowledge, and Europe is back on track to becoming a world power, they are still in a ton of conflict there, fighting over religion. So, with that being said, we get to the Catholic Counter-Reformation. And essentially what this is that the Church does take a point at some time and say, you know what, people are leaving us, and we have to stop them leaving us. And maybe there's a little bit of blame that maybe we need to look at ourselves, all right, and change a little bit. And so that's what happens. They had this Council of Trent, all right, and the Council of Trent was essentially an internal audit, all right, and the Church came out and they said, after the Council of Trent, we want to make sure that we keep the idea that salvation comes through, going to heaven comes through faith and good works, which means that you have to believe in God, but you also have to live a good life. And they're willing to keep that in. Now remember, Luther said, the only way you're getting to heaven is through faith. That's it. If you believe and you truly believe, God knows, and you're into heaven. Catholics think, hey, you've got to live a good life. You've got to help, people out. You've got to do good deeds, that kind of stuff. And the idea that and they protected this, the Bible is not the only source of truth, which allows for people, whether it's the Pope or bishops or priests, to be a source of truth in the Word of God as well. So it's not just the Bible, again, like Luther thought. All right? And the biggest kind of push the Catholic Church gets out of this, I guess the thing that they do right, is this, the Jesuits. It's a religious leader, Ignatius of Loyola, this guy, wicked smart, all right? And he said, we need to get out, go back to church traditions, setting up missionaries, getting church officials out, trying to convert people in these new places in Asia and Africa, and now it's in the Americas because we're in the 1600s. Columbus has already made his trip to the New World, so Europe has people in the Americas, and they are trying to convert those Native Americans, and so that is what's occurring. The Jesuits, their thing is they are no longer kind of like the bullies of religion, like the Catholic Church has been. When people went against the Catholic Church, you were excommunicated, you were tortured, you were killed, imprisoned, and that's not necessarily very godlike or, what would Jesus kind of do on his list of options. These guys said, we need to be intelligent. Our weapon is education. And the Jesuits, all of these guys were tremendously well-educated and super intelligent, and not only in just religion, but in all areas. And so their weapon was to go out and to be able to skillfully argue and debate the church, its beliefs, and to convert people based on providing them with education. And they were hugely successful. The Jesuits were a very good thing for the Catholic Church to come out of this. So, with that being said, this pretty much wraps up the Protestant Reformation. And we see that the Protestant Reformation began as a theological dispute between Martin Luther and the Catholic Church. Remember, theological is just another way of saying the study of religion. This dispute becomes religious conflict as Catholics and Protestants are persecuted for their beliefs. We have the fighting that breaks out and people dying. And then finally, the religious conflict becomes a political conflict between states seeking to advance their positions. Anything from trying to cozy up to the Catholic Church to going against the Catholic Church, like Henry VIII and his wives, and wanting to be separated and have their independence from the overreaching hand of the church is also in there. So, with that being said, we are all done here. Thanks so much. I will talk to you guys later. Peace.